Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze.
You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining us for another incredible episode of the African Father in America podcast. My name is Simon Javan Okelo, and I am truly honored to be here today with an incredible leader, someone that I actually look up to myself. Ndudi Chuku, the founder of Mission Africa, is our special guest today, and this is possible courtesy of Health Commons project that was recently selected by Washington State's Department of Health to distribute significant funding to community-based organizations and small businesses within the African diaspora community here in Washington State. Ndudi, go ahead and just say hi before we begin the show.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Simon, for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Of course. Thank you, Ndudi. Ndudi has truly been one of the biggest supporters of me here in America. For those of you who are watching from the motherland, and it's really because of her leadership that I've learned a lot about the potential of our community, and that's part of why she's on the show, because Health Commons project carefully selected a group of African women who are doing amazing work here in Washington State. So Ndudi, as I said earlier, is the executive director of Mission Africa, and I'm going to share a little more about Mission Africa in a moment. But for now, I want to share today's proverb, which is from the Buganda community in Uganda, and it says that you can burn down a house, but can you hide the smoke? You can burn down a house, but can you hide the smoke? I want to just share the 3 nuggets of wisdom related to this proverb, and then I'll ask Ndudi to share her own thoughts about this beautiful proverb from Uganda. So I'll quickly share this nuggets of wisdom. But before I do that, I just want to recognize some of you who have already joined us for the show. I see a lot of you on TikTok. I see many of you on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and YouTube. I just want to thank you for taking your time for joining us for today's show. I want to go ahead and share these 3 nuggets of wisdom. Number 1, and these are inspired by the proverb for today. So if you haven't, picked on what the proverb is, it's from the Buganda community. It says you can burn down a house, but can you hide the smoke? You can burn down a house, but can you hide the smoke? The first nugget of wisdom says actions have consequences. If you do something else is going to happen. So you must just be aware about that. Number 2, dishonesty doesn't pay. If you do something in hiding and you think nobody's watching, and you might actually be perfectly concealed and you totally think nobody knows, but sometime you'll realize that it didn't help you and it didn't help anybody else. And then finally, think before you act. That's our last nugget of wisdom. Think before you act. So go in the comment section and share with us your own perspective in regards to this proverb. And now I want to invite my guest, Ndudi Chuku, who is the executive director of Mission Africa. For those who are learning about Mission Africa for the first time, this is an amazing organization based here in Washington State, in Urban, that has 3 primary objectives, providing educational programming, providing healthcare programming, and poverty alleviation related work, both here in Washington State and also back in Nigeria. In fact, Ndudi just came back maybe yesterday from Nigeria, so she's probably very tired, and it's really an honor. So Ndudi, maybe just add a little to the introduction of who you are, and then talk to us about your own perspective in regards to today's proverb. You can burn down a house, but can you hide the smoke?
Thank you, Simon. Well, my name is Ndudi Chuku. I'm from Nigeria, from the Igbo tribe of Nigeria. I came to the United States, I believe, in 1996. And it's been, I'm one of those people who are grateful for the opportunity to live in this country because we have been able to help our people, from the resources that we have gained from living here. So I am.
As I was saying earlier, she has truly personally been one of my biggest supporters here in America. So today is a big day for me. I feel like now I have succeeded as a podcaster. So Nduri, I want you to take us back to maybe when you were 8 years old to 16, and remind us, maybe share a story of something that continues to drive you, because when we look at our people, it's always said that there's no hurry in Africa. Many African people are always late to meetings, and we've normalized it. But you're one of those people who always keep me accountable. Simon, why are you late? Simon, why have you not delivered this? And so share with us where this came from, where this spirit of hard work and consistency and determination came from, especially from your childhood. Because I ask this question to all my guests because when I was 8 years old, my mother gave me a bicycle and asked me to help her distribute milk and bread in our neighborhood. And since then, I've learned to live with people, I've learned to build relationships, I've learned to make money from within my own community, So share with us a little bit of your own story.
Well, we know that in Africa we live extended family, system. That's just how we live there. So it's not just about your immediate family, but your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, your uncles. Everybody is family, and that's a wonderful, wonderful culture, But growing up, my parents were both my mom and my dad. They were the ones that are a little bit up there, in their family. My dad worked as a police officer for 33 years, and my mom was a great entrepreneur. She had restaurants. She was very hardworking. She would just instill that culture and character of hard work in us. So growing up, I tell people that I was already in high school, junior secondary that we call it, before I knew who my immediate siblings were. Because at some time there were about 16 young people living in my home, so I didn't know who came from my my mom or who is a cousin until one of my older sisters sat me down and explained this to me. And the reason is, one, because my parents never discriminated. If there's food and you're not in a hurry to get your share, you're gonna go hungry. So we grew up like that, and I thought everybody was my sister and everybody was my brother. And the reason is because both my parents were doing well, when you look at it. So everybody who needed to go to school passed through our house. Everybody who needed to come out of the village and learn a trade passed through our house. So, philanthropist, one person in our class who is a medical doctor, and he came here. Now he's working as a CNA. Why? Because of language barrier and because of the digital illiteracy. Because he did not. When you're a professional in Africa, Simon, you know that labor is cheap. So you have personal assistants, you have executive assistants. You don't have to send an email. You just say, Simon, take this thing, go to the, cyber cafe and send me an email and all that. So, and then you find yourself in America where it is do it yourself. And you find out that you never learn to turn on a computer, let alone work on it. So the digital navigation work we are doing right now, it's incredible. We have had people who have never done their resume, before. Now they have a resume, they have a better job. We have a lady who has been working in an organization, and because she's not able to go online and order for her organization, place order for the things they need, she hasn't been promoted. People come new, and she can't do schedule. She has to draw the schedules with pen and paper. Now you should have seen the day she came back to tell us she can now place order on the computer. So these are little things that we all take for granted, but digital divide is real. Digital inequity is real. there are a lot of people who are embarrassed because they just don't know how to go about it. But now we have opportunity for people to come to Mission Africa and take our classes. So that one is right in my face. That's why I'm going on and on about it. It's incredible and it's very impactful. But for Smiles at Christmas and all the programs, we've been doing Smiles at Christmas since 2003, believe it or not. Sometimes we have close to 2,000 people on campus. And the sweet thing about it, or the wonderful thing about it, is we give to parents to give to their children, so that parents, we believe that parents should give to their children with dignity. So we don't want the kids opening the toys and say, oh, we got it from this organization, we got it from Mission Africa. No. So we have to entertain the kids so that their parents can do secret shopping and put it in their trunk before they go to pick up their kids. We have face painting, party jumpers, cotton candy, artwork, and craft tables. So the kids are entertained and they engage. They don't even know what their parents are doing, so that the parents will be the ones to wrap these gifts, put them under their Christmas trees, and the kids get to receive them from their own parents. So that's unique, and it's been growing. It's been growing, and we do back to school here. We have been working with AHAP, with Health Commons and the Department of Health. We've been doing a program, and Simon has been part of it. The African Health Advocacy Project has been one of the greatest programs that we have ever done, in healthcare. And the reason is because we've been able to work with over 35 African community leaders, African-led organizations. And, I tell people you cannot be more Catholic than the Pope. Simon cannot be more passionate, for Nigerians than myself. I mean, he might love us and all that. Neither can I be more passionate for Kenyans than Simon. So these community leaders were able to reach their own community. The Tanzanians were able to find their own Tanzanians and get to find out how they are doing.
Ted, I just want to thank you for joining us today. I am truly honored. I'm hosting a leader that is always very busy. To get Ndudi to join you for a show like this, you have to work for like a year. So I'm just so happy today. I'm really going to have a wonderful day. But again, I want to take you back, Ndudi, so that we can talk a little more about how COVID-19 impacted your community. And your community is also my community. And as you're speaking about AHAP, the African Health Advocacy Project, I remember in the midst of COVID-19 how my own children were also part of that program, and how we literally benefited from it. Our mental health status of many people, including us, was actually deteriorating because of how much we had to be in the house. And so for my kids to be able to create content that was helping change the narrative about how to mitigate COVID-19 was really, really effective. But I want you, because you are the one who was on the driving seat, speak about a little more about the impact of COVID-19 in your community, but also there is significant funding that the Department of Health, in collaboration with Health Commons Project, are going to be providing to our community leaders. Speak about some of the things that you're excited to do if you get access to this funding.
Of course, I am always grateful, because there's so much to be done. The needs are real, and COVID was very devastating, but it also helped bring out, a lot of lack, a lot of need. One of the things that the AHAP project helped us do was to find our brothers and sisters. Like I said, we had to intentionally look for our community members. So that's one. Another one is it gave us the opportunity to educate our people, because there were a lot of myths that were not real. And I know people are entitled to their opinions, but there were a lot of things that were hindering people from staying safe and taking the necessary measures to stay safe. And Mission Africa was able, through the the AHAP funding that we received from Department of Health through Health Commons, we were able to educate our people on this. We were able to reach out to our people. We did a very robust survey that helped us hear how people are doing. But one of the ones that we worked on and still working on is mental health. If you're from Africa and you're listening to me, I know you know that we don't do mental health. We don't talk about it. We don't see therapists. We don't see counselors. We're strong people and we pretend that we're not hurting. But COVID-19 was very devastating. And I'll give you a particular example. I had somebody in my community who had COVID, not once, I think two times, even though she took all the vaccines. When people come there, they can get the COVID test kits, they can get food, that whatever we have. Mothers come to get diapers and wipes, and people come. We have an organization that brings toilet paper to us now. So community members can come and get a bag of toilet paper. We have hygiene products we pick up from Amazon every other week. We pick up from World Vision. We pick up from, an organization that represents Starbucks. So we have been so blessed to have all these resources that our people can take and use for their families. So the effects are still on. They are now a little less than when we were in the heart of it, but people are still suffering because some people who lost their jobs, some of them are still looking for jobs. Some people who lost their housing, they are still looking for, how to settle back in. So the effects are still on, and we are grateful once again to, the funders, Health Commons and Department of Health for thinking about all of us and how we can help support our community members.
That's incredible. One of the things I love about Ndudi is that you don't just think about you and your organization and your community, but you think about others. You bring like 30 plus African leaders and their organizations, and you educate them about the opportunities that are out there. You bring Kenyans, Zimbabweans, you bring you even bring people who are not Africans. I know you help Ukrainians and all sorts of immigrant community members. So I just applaud you. For those who are joining us, my guest today is Ndudi Chuku, the executive director of Mission Africa, whose primary objectives are to provide educational programs, healthcare programs, and poverty alleviation programs. And today we have been talking about the work that she does, her story, but particularly this conversation has been made possible by Health Commons Project, which is a non-profit organization here in Washington State that was recently selected by Washington State Department of Health to distribute funding to community-based organizations here in Washington State in order for these community organizations to provide services that help to mitigate COVID-19 impacts in our communities. So if you're interested in accessing some of this funding, you should join us this Saturday at Rumba Notes Lounge in Columbia City in South Seattle. We'll have representatives from Health Commons Project. We will have, hopefully, Ndudi Chuku will be able to join us because she's literally recovering, from her long trip to Nigeria. We'll have representatives from the Department of Health as well. I'll be there personally as well. So now I want you to actually take a moment and learn about how you can support Mission Africa, where you can go, where the website is, and how you can donate, because that's part of the work that we are doing. We can't just talk, but we have to take some action. So Ndudi, give all the viewers and the listeners something to do in order to help.
All right, let's change the world together. So Mission Africa is considered a volunteer-based organization. I mean, we have, some staff, but the work we do because of volunteers. So
in this show, I've always wanted to interview you, Ndudi, but for some reason you've always escaped. So today I'm just grateful, and I want you to share with us anything that I didn't ask you.
Well, sometimes people think they have to, have a lot of money to make a difference. You don't. everybody can make a difference. That is what I always tell everybody. You can help your next door neighbor. You can help that child on that street. You can help in any way you can, but let's just be intentional in making a difference. Let's be intentional in helping one another. Let's see other people. There's so much going on in our world today, and I think a smile helps. Good morning helps. Whatever you can do to make a difference in the lives of people. Don't wait until you become a millionaire. Some of us, did not have much when we started. But I just want to encourage everybody. Let's work together. If you are a leader in the African community, reach out to Mission Africa. We can work with you. What we do is share the funding that we get, share the knowledge and the resources that we have, to make sure that the African community and the immigrant community and the BIPOC communities, they are reached. So let's work together. Let's work together and let's not wait until we can change thousands before we make a difference. Let's reach out to our neighbor or to our co-workers. Somebody's going through something that a kind word can change, or a little hand here and there can change. So let's change the world together. One child at a time, one family at a time, one village at a time. We can do it.
We can definitely do it. Thank you, Ndudi. And for those who are mostly interested in the proverb for today, it says you can burn down a house, but can you hide the smoke? It's from the Buganda community. If you haven't shared your comment and your own interpretation of it, share it down below. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow for another episode of the African Father in America podcast.